1971, Mark Donahue, AMC Javelin. 73, Peter Gregg, Porsche Carrera. 1978, Bob Tullius and the Jaguar XJS. 84, Tom Gloy, Mercury Capri. 1986, Wally Dallenbach Jr. and the Chevy Camaro. And now, in 1987, a new cast has gathered, hoping to put their names on the oldest and most prestigious championship in sedan racing, the SCCA Bendix Trans Am.
This USA Sports presentation of the 6th Annual Merkur Classic is brought to you by the XR4 Ti Sports Coupe, imported from Germany for Lincoln Mercury Division. By Fram, Bendix, and Autolite, which are all quality products of Allied Automotive. By STP, makers of STP oil treatment. We've got what it takes to perform. And by Goodyear, makers of the high-performance radial, the Eagle.
On a warm and sunny Sunday afternoon, you can almost hear the grapevines growing here in the wine region of Northern California. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain at Sears Point Raceway outside Sonoma, and we have come here for the oldest continuously running sports car racing series in America, the Bendix Trans Am. Many of the great drivers in American racing cut their teeth in this series over its long history, and some of the most exciting chapters in that history have been written right here at Sears Point in the Merkur Classic. It's almost a cliche, but every man in the field today calls this a driver's racetrack. They like this circuit, and the man who's going to give us a good look at it, in fact, we're going to have a hard time dragging him away from the action and up into the commentary booth, is a former series champion, David Hobbs. Let's have a look at Sears Point. David?
Well, thanks, Dave. You know, old race drivers don't die, they just fade away. But I'm faded away today. I'm leaning on a potential race-winning car, Pete Housley's Merkur, one of two cars that will be carrying onboard cameras for the upcoming race. However, before the action in the race, Pete took us for a ride around this extremely twisty California circuit. So hold on to your seats, because here we go. Approaching turn one, which is also the fastest part of this circuit, probably 150 miles an hour in this Merkur. Turn to this double apex corner. You've got to get yourself positioned well to the left for this right-hand turn two as we go over this little crest. We're heading down now. It's quite a dip coming up. As we get right to the bottom here and turn into turn three, the car might bottom out. 3 is a double apex left-right sweep. Again over another crest, down a sharp drop here, really hard braking there, possible potential overtaking place into turn 4. Out of turn 4, a very fast double right complex here, and the road, as you can see, we're looking at the sky now, up over the crest and down into the left-handed carousel. This is a very important turn to get right, because exit speed off here is all important, because it leads on to the only, well, rather the second straight on this course, as we're coming up into the far hairpin. I call it the far hairpin, turn 7. This is a good overtaking spot here as you brake for this very, very sharp 180-degree right-hand bend. Again, Pete using all the road, making a good apex there. Now coming to a very critical downhill, and the road just sweeps the whole time here. Nowhere to overtake. It's very important to get this last right-hand turn here, 8, off right, because you're now coming to a very fast part of the corner. Left-hand here, under the bridge, turn 10. Very important also, because this is going to lead us up to, obviously, turn 11, which is the second and probably the most favored overtaking spot on this track. So we're doing all that in front, of course, our pit crews and team managers and team owners, so they're anxious to see that we make a good job of it. Pete now facing up to the start-finish line as he goes past, reads his signal there on the left, back into turn 1 yet again.
Thank you, David. It's a wild and woolly 2.5 miles. They'll make 40 tours of the track here today for a distance of 100 miles. And we'll be back to meet the stars at the head of the field after this time.
Engine problems can stop you cold. That's why the Newman Sharp Racing Team specifies one brand of oil filter for their cars. Fram. They know Fram oil filters are the best protection they can get against the dirt and grit that can kill an engine. Fram, proven protection for life in the fast lane.
7 of the top 10 finishers in the 87 Indy 500 prepared their engines with a special high-performance oil treatment. Its name, STP.
STP is the racer's edge.
At Sears Point Raceway, we're awaiting the start of the Mercure Classic. Appropriately enough, Mercure driver Pete Halsmer owns the pole, and he has a final consultation with Jack Roush, one of the all-time great car builders, before heading off to battle. Jack will repair to the pits, of course, and the pits are going to be very much a part of the story here today. The pre-race preparation is so crucial to success in this event. The man with that story is Bob Richards.
Thanks, Dave. In our Mac Tools Pit Communication Center today, we'll keep you up to date on what's happening in the pits and also develop all those behind-the-scenes stories for you. Now, handling that legwork for us today is going to be Bob Varsha. He's down on the starting grid right now with our pole sitter, Pete Hall.
The pits is the last place you want to spend any time in an auto race, but particularly not in the Bendix Trans Am, which is a sprint race with no scheduled pit stops. Still, our pole sitter Pete Halsmer and his Mercure XR4 Ti and teammate Scott Pruitt have spent a tremendous amount of time getting these cars ready, including a late engine change in both cars. Pete, what kind of bugs have you guys been fighting?
Well, I guess it's been an assortment of things, really primarily with Scott's car. I've had some problems with the boost control system, and hopefully they're sorted out. Scott's had some other problems that have kept him from running several times, but looked like the last time he was out just a little bit ago, it looked like it was performing pretty good, so hopefully he'll be all right.
You got a fast guy alongside in Elliott Forbes Robinson and another fast guy in your teammate Scott Pruitt behind you, and one of the trickiest first turns in all of motorsports. How are you going to handle it?
Well, hopefully real well. I don't know. If these guys behind me all cooperate, it won't be a problem.
Okay, good luck to you, Pete. Our Davids Hobbs and Despain have made their way to the booth. Let's go to them now.
Pete Halsmer may feel some extra pressure because his boss is here to start the proceedings today. Ford Motor Company with a great deal invested here in terms of prestige, and their car on the pole as the engines fire and the machines begin to move out here for one warm-up lap before we put them under green, and that's our cue to look at the starting lineup with Halsmer and Elliott Forbes Robinson, the Porsche driver, changing teams this year outside row one. Pruitt, accompanied by the surprise at the head of the field, Larry Park in a Corvette. Back in row three, 6'6" Chris Neifel alongside Chevy veteran Les Lindley. Row 4, comprised of Jim Durhag and Bruce Jenner, Elliott Forbes Robinson's teammate in the Porsche. Then we move to Steve Barber and Rich Sloma, moving back through the top 10 here in the field. And David, we have a number of stock car drivers, including Jimmy Insolo, turning out here to race with the Trans Am stars on the road course.
Well, they have their own NASCAR West race here at Sears Point, so this is a good place for them to practice, although these cars, of course, are a lot lighter than the cars they race, so it's a little bit different, but it's still good practice all the same for road racing.
Some of the fiberglass-bodied cars of the Trans Am series, their drivers concerned about those big steel-bodied stock cars and what might happen in the case of fender rubbing out there. We know who would get the best of that. Rest of the field, back at the tail end, Frank Emmett, Jerry Miller. As they move up, there's one of those, probably the best of the stock car drivers, Ronnie Esau, is a former series champion, but he'll start back at the tail end of the field here after a bad qualifying run. We'll have two in-car cameras covering the action. This is the view from inside Scott Pruitt's Mercure as he looks directly ahead at his teammate Halsmer, the pole sitter. And for Halsmer, here's the view as they come down looking for the green flag and the start of the Mercure Classic. We'll see it from the inside of the pole-sitting car, and Elliott Forbes Robinson gets the jump. You see him there on the outside. Up the inside comes Neifel, and Halsmer did not get a good start, David.
No, I don't suppose he's smiling too much like he was just a few moments ago now. He seemed to make a bit of a mess of that start somehow. I don't know what went wrong. He must have just started a bit late, but Elliott Forbes Robinson, of course, really jumped the start because it's really up to the pole man to lead the cars across the field, and I'm surprised, really, they gave a green flag considering that Elliott had such a start there at the beginning.
Elliott certainly decided that the outside pole just as good as the inside pole for starting the race. He left. The official said, fine, it's green. And the guy who really benefits from all this, moving up into second spot, is Larry Park.